Speaking of rookie quarterbacks, we know who's going to start in New England. Mac Jones. We know who's going to start in Jacksonville. Trevor Lawrence. One of the places we don't know about is the San Francisco 49ers and whether or not it's going to be Jimmy Garoppolo, the incumbent, or the rookie Trey Lance. That's the only quarterback competition left outside of what's taking place in Chicago. So, Nick Wagoner covers the 49ers for ESPN. He is a Sports Nation reporter. He had this to say about who's going to start in Week 1 against the Detroit Lions.
49ers coach Kyle Shanahan has been given plenty of opportunities to name a starting quarterback over the last few weeks, but has so far refused to do so, saying only that he has, quote, a pretty good idea of who it's going to be. And really, I think we have a pretty good idea of who it's going to be also, and that's incumbent Jimmy Garoppolo. Garoppolo was going to be tough to beat out, Shanahan said from the very beginning of camp. And while rookie Trey Lance certainly had his moments where he flashed his tantalizing potential, he didn't have quite a consistent enough camp to really apply pressure to Garoppolo for the starting job. In fact, what's going to be more interesting is how the 49ers use both quarterbacks in games this year. It's quite clear that Shanahan intends to use the duo in tandem, alternating them in and out in various spots. It just remains to be seen how often that's going to happen. As for when Shanahan's going to actually name a starter, probably sometime early next week when Trey Lance has a chance to recover from his finger injury and the Niners have a good idea of how things might look when they play the Lions on September 12th.
Attaboy, Nick. And speaking of that game, the Niners are laying 7.5 in Detroit for Week 1. So if Garoppolo is in fact the starter, how would you bet that game?
Regardless of who's playing quarterback, I like the Niners side. I would lay it, even though I actually like Lance. I have more confidence in my bet if Lance is starting versus Garoppolo. I am not. I'm a believer that Jimmy Garoppolo is the Jared Goff of the San Francisco 49ers, propped up by Kyle Shanahan, and now there's a better talent that can fully maximize Shanahan's offense in the building with Trey Lance and presumably for Sean McVay in L.A. and Matt Stafford. However, Jared Goff, my old buddy, and that abysmal offense that they have. I mean, have you seen his wide receivers that he has?
He's got nothing.
Like, Joey Bosa's back. That defense should be really good again. You got Warner in the middle of that defense. And I do trust that whoever is turning around and handing the ball off to Trey Sermon and Raheem Mostert will be able to engineer enough scoring drives to make this a 10, double-digit type of victory for the San Francisco 49ers. So this is a belief that the Niners are one of the better teams in the National Football League this season, and the Lions are one of the worst in the National Football League this season.
First of all, Nick Bosa, not Joey. That would be.
Did I say Joey? Okay, sorry.
That's okay.
Apologies, Joey in L.A.
in the jar if I was still working in San Francisco, which shockingly, the co-hosts could not get that right for about a year. We filled this jar up with hundreds of dollars. No one could get it right. It was absolutely ridiculous. I would make two bets in this situation if Garoppolo is the quarterback. Number one, a teaser option right here. We've talked about this before, ladies and gentlemen. Take San Francisco minus 7.5, tease them down to 1.5. They only have to win by 2. The catch is that you've got to do it with a second team as well, and that would be Tampa Bay on Thursday night against Dallas. You take them, currently a 7.5-point favorite as well, and tease it down to 1.5. In order to win the bet, we have to win both sides. That, ladies and gentlemen, is your 6-point teaser lesson for the day. I'd also bet the Detroit team total. I bet that they'll score fewer than 19 points in this game. San Francisco's defense is going to be loaded. It's going to be aggressive. DeAndre Swift, by the way, might not be ready to go Week 1 for the Lions. Battling an injury, that offense is already depleted. You take DeAndre Swift out of the equation.
They do, on paper, have a good offensive line in Detroit.
Yes.
That we can say. But there's no weapons for Goff to throw to. And the running back room, like DeAndre Swift is good, but you're going to be playing from behind so much this season.
All right, so phase 2 here. San Francisco currently has the second best odds to win the NFC West at 2-1, right behind your Los Angeles Rams. Would you play the Niners at 2-1 to upset the Rams and win the division?
I would not, because I'd rather play Seattle with a better price at plus 280 and the best quarterback in the division in Russell Wilson, regardless of who plays and lines up for the Niners this season. So I'm getting a better price on the best quarterback and a team that is right there. Their win total is like 10. I think the Niners and the Rams like 10.5. They're essentially the same, but I'm getting the best quarterback who is now getting an offensive coordinator in Shane Waldron, who's coming from Sean McVay's tree. You're getting rid of Brian Schottenheimer. I think that's a massive upgrade. Tempo is going to be boosted through the roof, and for a quarterback as efficient over the course of his career as Russell Wilson, who has Tyler Lockett to throw to, who has DK Metcalf to throw to, has Chris Carson to turn around and hand off to, and remember how much better that Seattle defense looked in the second half of last season? I think that's the smarter bet. If it's not the Rams, then the 49ers because of the price.
Defense got much better the second half. Offense got much worse, but hopefully Shane Waldron comes in and corrects that. I would not bet the Niners at 2-1. I wouldn't fault anyone for playing the Niners, given the head coach, given the defense, given the weapons they have on offense, and given the strength of the NFC West. I don't think there's anything wrong with that bet, but I'm on record, and I know you feel similar to this. I like the Los Angeles Rams. I like them to win the division. I like them to win the NFC, and I'm playing them to win the Super Bowl as well. Matthew Stafford is going to be a huge upgrade over Jared Goff. You know the narrative. This was the #1 ranked total defense, #1 ranked scoring defense last year. Great coaching. And Sean McVay's tenure, look at how much success they've had on the road, right? There are certain metrics you want to look at to indicate whether or not a team truly is good. Winning on the road means you're good. Sacks mean you're good. Turnovers mean you're good. Those are the things you want to keep an eye on. This is a team that has consistently had success on the road. So I'm going to be on the Rams. Don't fold anyone for playing the Niners, obviously. And I do like where you're at with Seattle. It's an interesting price.
You forgot everyone's, as I knock on wood here, favorite Sean McVay stat. Never lost a game in which he had a lead at halftime.
Oh my God!
In his 4-year NFL career.
We have a few great stats that are going to be coming back with football season that we're going to be able to reference every single week.
Certainly he'll have that lead week 1 against the Bears at halftime, and Justin Fields will come out of there with his cape on and lead the Bears to a victory.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.